Alrighty, boys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Monday Morning Quarterbacks Podcast, episode 29. As you can clearly see, we are three short.
Pretty
And
sure.
the reason why is and also the podcast didn't come out Thursday morning. What happened? Well, we recorded an entire podcast, and we got the video, and we got my audio, but we have nothing else. So,
Hundreds of people were reaching out to me wondering where the video
I did
was.
actually get a couple texts. Weirdly enough, that was like podcast question mark. Yeah. So we're just gonna film a quick little. It'll be a short one this week, probably just Josh and I, unless any of the other boys hop in. And we're just gonna
Quick
fly
recap.
through the slate. Anything you want to recap last week? I know we can highlight the Packers quick. I mean,
Devontae Adams on the Jets is good. Amari Cooper on the Bills is going to be good at some point.
yeah, I think both
Um,
those trades were very good.
the Packers are going to dominate. Well, they dominated last week, but they're great. I think they're going to win the NFC North still.
We got a kicker. Huge news.
Packers got a kicker is a big deal. The NFC North is the best division in the history of the NFL so far. The Buccaneers are hot, and the Ravens are good. And the Eagles are frauds. And
Commanders are
Sirianni,
real. Jaden Daniels is really good.
yep, Commanders are really good. That's
Lions
the only other team in the NFC that's really good. Maybe Buccaneers.
Lions absolutely annihilated the Cowboys in a little revenge game there.
Tried their best to get an offensive lineman a touchdown.
Kirk looks good with the Falcons. Bills beat the Jets in a tight one. I mean, I think
Cousins is really turning it on.
that's a quick recap for that game. Um, let's move on to Week 7. What's going on? Literally, the game going on right now. This pod's gonna get uploaded in the next while this game's still ongoing. Uh, whole podcast picked Broncos, except me. I'm on the Saints. We need a little comeback. We need a little Rattler magic.
Terrible take. Terrible pick.
we need a
They
We
all
need some
knew
Rattler
it.
magic. Although we were huge on Foster Moreau. His line opened at 8.5 receiving yards. All the boys were riding that. Insta Cash's first drive for a little 30-yarder. So love that.
It was free.
Love that. We might hit the pod parlay too. That's looking. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but three
Free
legs have
sweat.
cashed already out of the five. Um,
Pretty close.
let's move on quick. We got New England at Jacksonville. I rode Jacksonville. Jeff rode Jacksonville. P and Connor are on New England. And who you got, Josh?
I believe I rode Jacksonville.
Indeed. Um,
But Drake May is going to have a great game, probably, because everyone has a great game against the Jaguars. So it could be. I can see this game going either way. I don't feel great about the Jaguars pick, but we'll see what happens.
Jags just have so much talent. I just don't understand how they can't win football games. And the Patriots have so little talent. I don't know. That's why I went Jags, but we'll move on to the next game. Seattle at Atlanta. Atlanta -3 over under 51.5. Whole pod's on Atlanta. Whole pod is on Kirko Chains.
Atlanta's been hot recently. Kirk Cousins has really come into being able to be good and not have an Achilles problem anymore. He looked a little pretty shaky the first couple of weeks, so he's really warming into that offense. Drake London's emerged as like a solid wide receiver one. Bijan and Algier rotating is dangerous. But Gino's gonna probably throw for 400 yards in this game, so
Gino
maybe a touchdown.
is the garbage man. He is the garbage man. He thrives in the garbage time of every game. This dude's going to throw for 350 yards every game. He's going to throw for 5K this year. Just an absolute animal, a specimen of a human being. He's Jameis Winston 2.0. I love him. He's so funny. He's just mouthing to his teammates, "What the F are you doing?" Gotta love Gino, bro. Gotta love him.
He's one.
This is a classic game where Atlanta's going to put up a lot of points and Seattle's going to have to throw too. So, little DK bounce
Yeah,
back week for that tutty that got called back last week.
you guys due for a big touchdown. It's missed like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
He's due.
he just is the king of 50 plus yard. Him and Rashid Shaheed are the king of 50 plus yard tutties.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next game, we got Tennessee at Buffalo. Once again, whole pod riding in unison on Buffalo. Ton of Josh Allen fans on this podcast. Uh, and he's just gonna cook his magic against the worst quarterback I think I've ever seen start football games in Will Levis.
Yeah, I don't know if Amari Cooper is playing or not. I'm assuming he's going to play in a very limited role. He maybe probably knows like three play calls, or they just tell him what he's doing in the huddle every time.
Go
The
deep.
Titans are
That's
helped.
all he runs anyway.
Levis is the worst quarterback in the NFL, and it's not even close unless you're talking about Anthony Richardson, then it might be slightly
Richardson is
close. But the Titans are don't exist.
yeah, Richardson is
What's
very
the
bad.
Yeah, we all have the Bills obviously in this one. You said right.
Yep, everyone rode Buffalo.
This would be a shocking upset.
Next game we got Cincinnati at Cleveland. Everyone is on Cincy except Big P is taking the dog pound as pretty big dogs in
He's
Cleveland
just
though.
decided. He's just decided he wants to run the beer mile, and he's gonna start doing everything he can to make sure that happens.
Jeff is currently
If
in
the
last place. P is in second to last place. Josh is in the middle. Then me. Then Connor's got a pretty hefty lead on everyone right now in the pick'ems. Uh, but yeah, he
Connor's
it's
Connor's eight ball's really been coming through for him lately.
Connor and I were heavy on the narrative that Cincy is too good of a team, uh, and they're going to be making a
Too much,
playoff push here. And P was on the narrative that Cincy's frauds and have no chance at the playoffs. So
too much talent.
a lot of talent. We'll see if they can put it together. Next game we got Houston at Green Bay. Josh, myself, and Connor were on Green Bay, and P and Hefe are on Houston.
Yeah, this is the game where the Packers get on the radar of everyone else in the NFL as like a top three contending team this year. I think they just smoke the Texans. They're gonna put up 40 points. That's my prediction. Jordan Love 4+ touchdowns. Lock it in.
I'm in a similar narrative where I think this game reminds me of the game a while ago when Houston was undefeated, playing the Packers, getting all hyped up, and the Packers just absolutely smacked them in prime time. Rodgers had like 4 touchdowns in the first half. Could go either way. I think Green Bay could pull away, or I could also see a shootout back and forth. Regardless, though, I think Green Bay ends up on top. Um, but we'll see.
Kenny gets a pick.
Love it. Next game, we got Miami at Indy. Everyone's on Indy except Hefe is on Miami. Anthony Richardson back starting at QB. Huntley still starting for Miami. Tyreek's line opened at 50, which is just insane. I think it was like 48.5. It's already up to like 56.5 now. But I was just saying that's way too low for Tyreek. I mean, that's a screen pass. He can take 90 any play. So
Any play he could break that. The Dolphins are useless without Tua. The Colts are worse with Anthony Richardson, but he gets injured so frequently. We just assume we're going to see Joe Flacco at some point in this game for him to win the Colts the game. So
Connor predicted a chain bounce back game this week, which I also I like. I think it's a
the
good
Colts
spot
have a
for him to
bad
bounce
run
back.
defense. Is Mostert? Mostert's playing too, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And the rookie's good too. Jalen Wright's looked good every time he's gotten the ball too.
A lot
That
of
could just
guys
turn
though.
into a three-man backfield.
A little committee action. And Huntley's the fourth RB. He's probably gonna get the
Yep.
touchdown out of him. Moving on, another great game here. Another game of the week. Game of the week number 2 on the slate. Holy, we got Detroit at Minnesota. Myself, Josh, and Connor are on Detroit. Big P and Jeff are on Minnesota. I vouched I was not going to be betting against Detroit, possibly again this whole year until they play the Packers. After I took Dallas to beat them. Detroit's really good. I mean,
Detroit,
they
yeah.
I feel like they always have their stinker games throughout the season, which I feel like this is not going to be one of them. But they're just pulling out every trick play they got in the book, and it sounds like Ben Johnson's says he's using those. He's not afraid of showing those cards early in the season because he's going to use them basically later in the season in a different way to set something else up, is what he claimed. But he's just telling
I think
everyone his hand.
he was just trying to embarrass the Cowboys. Really, that's what that was.
It was
They were
personal.
getting revenge, but it was definitely personal, and they tried everything they could possibly do to get an alignment touchdown. But I think the Vikings are the most likely team in NFC North to spontaneously collapse I think Sam Darnold plays like Sam Darnold again at some point. He's been playing way too good for Sam Darnold.
I can see a big Bears collapse too. I'm not gonna lie.
The Bears have such a good defense that they just seem like they could end up almost like even, like 8-9 or so. But I don't think they'll collapse. I think the Vikings could just lose 5 in a row
Vikings
randomly. But
statistically have a really good defense, but it's interesting because it's like they just get out to such big leads. Teams get behind and
they
they're
got a
throwing the ball. And
they got a good defense, but I don't know. I don't trust their defense the way I trust the Bears. But yeah, I think the Lions win this one. They're just too high powered of an offense.
alrighty, moving on. We got Philly at the Giants. Myself and Hefe are on Philly. Josh, P, and Connor are all on the Giants. Walk me through why you're thinking Giants here.
I like the way the Giants have been playing. They only put up 7 points last week, but I just like the way they were playing on offense. They get Malik back. Danny Dimes has been decent. The Eagles are frogs, obviously. I think Sirianni needs to be fired. I think if they lose to the Giants, he will be fired. And the Giants' defense is tough. They're coming after the quarterback. And Saquon got off to a rough start back last week. I just feel a Giants victory in this one.
Nice. We got
Sirianni
Connor
gets
coming in
going.
hot here. Welcome, Connor. We are halfway through our picks here, but welcome. Get that camera turned sideways, and we'll get you on here too. The reason I was thinking Philly is I just think they're too talented offensively and honestly defensively too. Where, I mean, you're talking A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon, Dallas Goedert versus Tyrone Tracy. They get Malik back. He did clear concussion protocol. And who, like Darius Slayton? Like,
Yeah.
I
Well, the
don't know. That's my
problem in
mindset, but yeah.
one Dale, but well, the problem is you keep forgetting about Sirianni. I think he counts for like -3 of the offensive players you listed on the Eagles side. So the Eagles really only
Connor
have like
came in at the
one.
perfect time just for the Sirianni
Sirianni's
slander.
You want to give your 10-second spiel on why Sirianni's the worst coach in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I mean, Eagles fans were even saying it coming into the season. I mentioned it a couple times in the podcast early on in the season. And yeah, you're starting to see the reasons for it. He's just a bad coach all around. I was kind of shocked when the Eagles hired him from the Colts offense because we were nothing special. I think this is when we had Philip Rivers in our offense. So it was just, I don't know, shocking hire. Same thing with Eberflus. Our defense was nothing special when the Bears hired him as their head coach. So I don't know. That's why I poop on him. But
Solid.
Completely out of spite. Got it.
Also, when we were initially recording the pod, I think Hefe and P, or maybe it was Connor and P, were having an argument about Tyrone Tracy. P was saying he's this dog, averaging 5 a carry last game. Looked it up, he was averaging like 2.9. But in his defense, he played really well in the pass game and had a lot of catches. So I think that's what P was visualizing. Hop on over.
Yeah, he was a receiver in college. I do know that.
Hopping on over, we got Las Vegas at the LA Rams. Everyone is on the Rams except Big P is on Las Vegas. Common trend. P is picking against the pod a lot this week, so he could gain some ground or he could lose a lot of ground. Same situation here. I think Vegas is kind of in tank mode, trading Tay. Offensively, it's like who are they going to get the ball to other than Bowers? Looks like Jacoby Myers should play and be back, but
yeah, and I think Cup's playing too, right? Is he back?
Cup should.
Not officially, but it sounds like he's gonna play. Yeah,
seems like Cup's gonna play. Kyron's hard to stop. I don't know how the Raiders score points other than just throwing the ball to Brock Bowers every play. They don't have a running game.
Bowers without Devontae Adams has 34% target share. Bowers with Devontae Adams had 21 or 23% target share, which is just absolutely insane both ways. I mean, 21 and 23 is not anything that crazy. Still really good target share. But, yeah, 35 target share without Tay is just means he's the offense when they're throwing the ball.
I don't even know if, like, Tyreek Hill last year was at that.
Yeah,
might have been like 32.
Yeah, it's very good. Moving on, we got Carolina at Washington. Everyone is on Washington again except P. P is on Carolina here. it's hard to bet against Jaden Daniels right now with how well they've been playing. But interesting stinker spot that Carolina could play a little upset. I don't know. I just don't see it.
I don't see it happening either. Even in the loss against the Ravens, it was still a close-ish game. I mean, they look good. They're a good team, so they shouldn't have a problem with Carolina, I think.
Sweet. I think that's an easy one to gloss over. We'll move on to our third game of the week. We got KC at San Fran, Super Bowl rematch. Myself, Connor, and Jeff are on San Fran. Josh and P are riding with the Chiefs.
I want to pick San Fran, but the Chiefs just don't lose, and every time I pick against the Chiefs, they always win. So I just figured I will just take the win instead of picking against them when they should lose.
San Francisco's 3-3 though, so I mean, I just don't see them going 3-4. That's why I picked them. I mean, it could go either way, honestly, but that's why I picked them.
I agree. It's a much more important game to San Fran. Also in San Fran, and it's also not a playoff game. So I feel like San Fran pulls it out. If it was a playoff game, I mean, Patty Mahomes is San Fran's daddy. I said it last night. I'll say it again. Moving on, we got the Jets at Pittsburgh. Everyone's on the Jets again except P. P is on Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to hit one of those.
Aaron Rodgers gets some weapons. Another weapon. It'll be interesting to see how much it hurts Wilson and Lazard, if any, or if it opens up more pass game for Wilson, or see who kind of draws the one corner. But I feel like there's not a lot of corners that are shadowing right now in the NFL anyway. A lot of teams are just playing cover 2 zone and sitting back, so I don't think it'll have too much. If anything, who knows, might draw off some attention to Garrett Wilson, or vice versa. Wilson could keep getting the attention, and Devontae could just be the one eating. Or who knows, maybe it's just Lazard. Still.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'll be interesting to watch Pittsburgh offense too, and see if Russell Wilson makes that offense look worse or better. I think he's a better quarterback than everyone's saying, so I think they're going to look about the same, if not maybe a little better. But maybe I stand to be corrected. We'll see.
I mean, with the amount of practice reps he's been getting in, maybe he does play better than we think, but there's no way he plays good the whole season.
I'm out on Russ after watching him and how bad he was in Denver. I think he's going to be a similar struggle. I think Fields gives him a better chance to win, and I think we see Fields within the next 2 or 3 weeks here. And just the rushing upside of Fields is so much more of a help to where how the Steelers have such a good defense too. I think Fields gives them a better chance to stay in games where Russell Wilson could just potentially be a turnover monster. So we'll see.
Hey,
Maybe
that about Fields. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I mean, the reason the Steelers lost to the Colts is because Fields fumbled. I think he fumbled twice in that game. So I just think Russell Wilson gives them a more, I guess, less turnover prone with Russell Wilson than you are with Justin Fields.
Wilson's weird though. Like he's had moments in his career where he's really not turned the ball over and been super consistent, and he's also had moments. I mean, not to bring up the Packers Seahawks NFC Championship game that haunts my nightmares. I mean, he threw 4 picks in that game alone. I mean, he has. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I'm on the Fields train more than the Rush train, and that'll be interesting to watch how that plays out. Moving on to the 4th game of the week. Holy, so many good games this week. We got Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Everyone's on Baltimore except Jeff is on Tampa Bay.
Bucks are hot, but the Ravens are just too good, too talented. If they can somehow stop Derrick Henry running the ball, Lamar's been great passing it. Zay Flowers is super talented, and he's getting a lot of the passing work. They have 3 tight ends they can throw the ball to. The Ravens are tough. They're tough to stop, and they got a good defense. So I think it's hard to see the Bucs winning this unless Baker Mayfield just takes this game over and puts the team on his back.
King Henry is just an absolute animal. He has one of those 50-yard rushes every 4th quarter, it seems like, where the defense is worn out. He's sitting around 80 yards, hits a 50, 60-yarder to boost him to like 130, 140 on the game. He's like minus 250 to score a touchdown every week, which is just absolutely insane. King Henry's fully back, and the Ravens look really good. Zay Flowers had a big week. I think Connor was mentioning that yesterday in the deleted pod we'll never see. But, yeah, I'm on Baltimore.
Yep. Josh had it best. I mean, both really good teams, but Baltimore's just a little bit better.
Moving on, last game of the week, our second Monday night game. We got the Chargers at Arizona. Whole pod swept the Chargers. I think after watching Arizona and how terrible they were against the Pack last week. That was the first week all season they didn't score a touchdown in their first opening drive, and they just got behind so quick and just didn't have a chance from the start. If Arizona's going to play like that, it's going to be hard to pick them the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are going to run the ball 45 times in this game and run the clock out on the Arizona Cardinals. And they don't have Marv. Kyler's been struggling. Chargers win in a grinded out game.
It's tough because the Colts play at 1 o'clock every week, so I usually just watch the Colts instead of watching Red Zone. But I did watch that first quarter of the Packers game versus the Cardinals, and Kyler Murray looked so bad. So I don't know. After watching that, it's going to be tough to pick the Cardinals moving forward until he shows me some improvement.
Cool, boys.
Especially with Marvin's out too. So.
Mm-hmm. Wow, we banged through that 20 minutes. Shorter pod this week. We'll be back to our normal hour next week with the full cast and crew. Once again, grown man dropped the ball there, but hey, we'll be back. We'll be better. Anything else you guys want to add before we call it a pod here?
I threw it in yesterday. Picks that Jake and I agree on are like 92% or something on the season. If you parlayed our picks that we agreed on last week, I think it was 10 legs or something like that, that would have hit. So just something to keep in mind moving forward, I guess. I'm going to be doing it. So
yeah, we both are riding it this week, so feel free to go back and ride that. You'll be one game. Actually, no, we were different first game, so it doesn't even affect the Thursday night game. I also was big on Bub. Bub means to score a tutty tonight. Hasn't in the first half, but maybe a little magic in the second half here. We'll see if we can hit that, which would be nice. And we're close on our pod parlay too, so hopefully that can hit. You got anything, Josh?
Nope. I think you guys covered it all.
That's a pod, boys. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Follow the Twitter. Follow the Twitter.
We do have a Twitter now. Follow the Twitter. Follow the TikTok. Everything will be linked down below. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Love you guys. And we will see you back next week. Peace.